So apparently, we're supposed to be getting a new Sonic game sometime in the future. It's supposed to be a sequel to Sonic Frontiers. I don't know if it's going to be a sequel in the sense where it's going to follow the storyline of Sonic Frontiers, or if it's just going to be like the spiritual successor to the game. But this is something that it was confirmed by a reliable leaker who works for Sega Atlas. I believe his name is Midori, and Sega hasn't announced anything in regards to a sequel to Sonic Frontiers, but that's something that might be coming a little bit later this year. And Sonic Frontiers, I feel, was one of the few games that that really stood out in 2022, 2023. And the reason why I say that is because you look at like Sonic games over the past like 15 years or whatever, there hasn't been a ton that has made like a huge splash or gotten any mainstream attention to the same extent that Sonic Frontiers did. And it's a game that people are polarized about. On one hand, people say it's good. It's one of the best 3D Sonic games that we've seen in years. On the other hand, there are people who feel like it's overrated and it could have been better than what it was. Personally, I feel like it was a commercial success. Did over 3 million copies in terms of sales across multiple platforms, and even though it's a decent number by like Sega standards, um, it's not. It's not as big or as popular as Sonic Adventure 2 was from 2001. In fact, people are still waiting for Sonic Adventure 3, a game that people were hoping that we were going to get like 10, 15 years ago, what have you, but for whatever reason Sega never pulled the trigger on that. And I'm guessing that if Sega ever does a Sonic Adventure 3, it's going to be a last resort type of deal where they release it when they feel like everything is going downhill to, I guess, get mainstream attention and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, we did know that more Sonic the Hedgehog games were going to be coming, those are going to be coming all along and being released like a little bit later down the line in the future. We don't have official release dates or anything like that. Hopefully, Sega doesn't put out too many Sonic games to a point where it feels like oversaturation and people are just like, you know, they just see it and they're just like, yeah, whatever. It's just another game, what have you. But I do feel like Sonic Frontiers, if it does have a sequel that's going to come out like either later this year or next year. My bet would probably be next year. Hopefully, it's something that um, I think like it's something that should have storytelling that's on par with what we got with Sonic Frontiers. Probably better gameplay mechanics and all that stuff. The fact that you got to play as Supersonic and Sonic Frontiers was pretty cool. Something that Sega should do more in Sonic games in general. Um, I do feel that Sonic games, for the most part, are just better when you have Sonic as the central character, and I guess, you have other popular characters, appear in the game or make cameos, or what have you. And one of the problems with the Sonic series, for the most part, is that you had like too many characters to a point where um, it kind of like took away from the quality of the game itself. I mean, you look at the Mario games, not all of them, but a majority of them, like Super Mario Odyssey or Galaxy, where Mario was like the main character. Those games actually did pretty well in terms of sales because the main focuses were the gameplay along with the storylines and the new features added. I do feel that Sonic games have to be more simplistic yet story driven, and I guess it should be like you should have like maybe one, two, or even three playable characters, something of that nature. There shouldn't be like five or six playable characters in a Sonic game because it seemed like that's something that doesn't work necessarily all the time. Maybe once in a while having that many playable characters will work in a Sonic game, but for the most part, it's like less is more, and I do feel like that's kind of what we got in Sonic Frontiers, where you basically just had a game that was built around one character, and basically it was very mission driven, and it was something that allowed players to, I guess, soak in the environment. in which like the game was presented in, like the stages, the level designs, all that stuff like that goes a long way in terms of adding to the quality of the game, especially in relation to like the platform action adventure genre. But yeah, the Sonic team and Sega hasn't necessarily confirmed anything about Sonic Frontiers, and most likely there's a sequel that's in the works, but we still have no idea when it's going to be released. In the meantime, we're still waiting for Persona 6. We're still in the dark about that. We're waiting for more details about that. And hopefully that's something that, Sega can give us more answers about a little bit later down the line.